Now that we have the wrinkle map created, we're ready to go in and begin integrating that into our existing color map for our monster. Okay, so in the previous video, we managed to create this wrinkle map. But the problem that we run into right now is that the wrinkles are the correct size, but this image is still too small to be able to fit over the entire body. So we have a couple of options that we could do. One would be to get this placed in the area that we want, and then we would have to go in and duplicate this layer and move it over. The problem though with using this method is that you introduce a lot of room for error. For instance, if you were to go in and get this lined up pretty closely, you can see that you still actually wind up with a seam right in this area because these two aren't really matching up perfectly, and it's going to be very difficult to get these to match up perfectly. So rather than trying to go through this entire method, let's go back to this and let's actually make more of a repeating texture here on this original skin image. So to clarify that, what I'm talking about, let's go ahead and go back to canvas size. Okay, and with this skin texture, let's go ahead and take the height and the width back to 1200 by 800. Okay, and I might need to go back and move this back into the upper corner. Now let's go ahead and repeat this texture pretty much the same way that we did the first time around. Okay, so now I have more wrinkles within this area. Okay, let's go ahead, link these together, and merge these. Okay, now I'm ready to go in and take this, drop it down into my existing color map, and now I find that I have just one layer to have to move around that's already got all the repeating textures perfectly lined up. Okay, so what we can do is let's get this roughly into position. And now what we may have to do in order to get this to fit over our existing UV layout is we may need to just slightly stretch this. Okay, so what I can do is let's go up to Edit and let's free transform, or I usually just use the shortcut, which is Control T. Okay, what we can do now is start to scale this more into shape, okay, so that it pretty much fits over our UV layout. Okay, let's go ahead and hit enter. Now we've got this wrinkle map, but we really need to be able to get our background color to be able to show through this. So we're going to be able to do a couple of things to really make this blend into our existing skin texture. Okay, let's first of all, let's take this, let's make this layer called wrinkle layer. Let's take this wrinkle layer and let's lower the opacity. Okay, let's take this down to something like 20%. Okay, so you can now see we're starting to get a little bit more of our skin texture or our background color to show through this wrinkle map, but it's still not completely normal looking. So what we can do is take this wrinkle layer and use an overlay, or use a blend mode, which is going to be set to overlay. Okay, so when I set this to overlay, it does a much better job of blending between this original wrinkle layer and this underlying skin base. Okay, so with these adjustments made, let's go ahead and just take a look at what we've got in Maya. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and save this, reload our textures in Maya, and what we should see is this very, very dark area that we just applied this wrinkle map to. It really looks nothing like it did in Photoshop. The reason for that is that Maya has a very difficult time recognizing these overlay or these blend modes and opacity So in order to get this to show up in Maya exactly like we have in Photoshop, what we would really need to do is be able to take this wrinkle layer and link it together with this skin base. Okay, and once those two are linked, what we would have to do is merge these together. Okay, so the wrinkle and the skin base have now been merged. Let's save this, reload it, and now what we have in Maya is something that looks exactly like what we had in Photoshop. Okay, so now we're starting to actually get a bit more depth in this skin. Okay, so now that we at least know that things are going to look correct, what we would actually need to do is undo this. Because even though, yes, this does look good, we're going to have a problem later on whenever we go to make the bump maps for this. So for the time being, we still want to make sure that this wrinkle layer is its own individual layer. Okay, we won't merge these together until we're absolutely certain that we've made all the adjustments necessary. So in the next video, we'll go ahead and continue making adjustments to this wrinkle layer and go ahead and get that wrinkle layer placed over the other portions of the body.